In today's video, we are unenthusiastically eating our sandwiches in the old Dacia Duster. But enough with the old Duster, because it's our camera car and we already know everything about it. Today I'm in the new Duster and I want to find out if it's better than its predecessor, both on but especially off the road. As before, you can take the new Duster off-road without being afraid of getting stuck. That's because the car is the same mechanically. The engines and transmissions are unchanged, as is the all-wheel drive system, which continues to feature two-wheel drive, auto and four-wheel drive lock modes. The latter setting evenly distributes torque on both axles, and if you deactivate the electronic stability control and traction control system, the Duster is up for some serious mud wrestling. While the ground clearance stays the same at 210 mm, the 2018 Duster has a slightly reduced departure angle, but you won't feel that unless you're into extreme off-roading. Low-range gearing is not offered, but the short first two gears make up for that to some extent. For 2018, the SUV gains a hill descent function, a 4x4 monitor that displays a compass and the vehicle's real-time inclination, as well as a multi-view camera system that shows what happens around the car on narrow trails. The Duster is no extreme off-roader, but it's definitely the most capable model of this price and size. Since the 2018 Duster shares the same platform with its predecessor, it goes without saying that the two cars are very much alike when it comes to driving. Still, Dacia made some subtle updates that improve the driving experience. There is now an electric power steering system that replaces the old hydraulic one. Overall, I think it's a better choice for this car. The car is much easier to maneuver around town thanks to this new system. As with the previous Duster, this is no performance SUV, so you shouldn't expect razor-sharp handling. There's plenty of body roll. However, it feels a bit more composed than before, and I suspect that has something to do with the suspension. When you drive over poor quality roads, the suspension isn't as noisy as it used to be. It feels more mature to drive, more grown up if you want, in a good way, obviously. Speaking of dynamics, this car features the top engine in the Duster lineup, which remains the 1.5-liter turbodiesel unit that makes 110 horsepower. Even with this engine, the Duster is not a quick car, not by a long shot. It needs more than 12 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, which is rather slow in this day and age. When you pick up speed in the new Duster, you realize that the cabin is significantly more silent than before. Dacia says it has reduced noise levels by 50% in the cabin. And while that's a bold claim, I have to admit there's a dramatic improvement in this area in the new Duster. Obviously, Dacia managed to do that by adding more soundproofing materials, but also by improving the car's aerodynamic performance. While engine noise has been reduced as well, the improvement is not as significant as Dacia claims it to be, honestly. You still hear a lot of the engine, particularly when you rev it up, because it's a diesel, come on. You can't expect to escape that clatter. Besides reducing cabin noises, Dacia has also managed to improve comfort by fitting the new Duster with new seats, which offer more support and have a longer cushion for better posture. I have to say, driving the previous Duster wasn't very comfortable if you had to do it for long distances, simply because the seats were poor ergonomically. These are much improved, and I can see myself driving this car for 300, 400 kilometers without brakes, with no problems. The driving position is another comfort-related improvement, and that's because for the first time the Duster offers a reach adjustable steering wheel in addition to the height adjustment, and it makes it easier for you to find the preferred driving position. In addition to that, you can adjust the driver's seat lower and higher than before, and you also get a lumbar support for the driver's seat, which is a first for the Duster. Another first is this armrest that can prove handy when it comes to long trips. The all-new Duster features a totally redesigned dashboard with a driver-oriented center console and a touchscreen display that is now placed higher and tilted upwards for better visibility. It's less distracting to use than before, but the media nav interface stays largely the same. However, a new one with a larger screen will arrive later this year. Hard, scratchy plastics continue to dominate the interior, and the fit and finish is typical for a budget car. However, Dacia fitted better quality materials to areas passengers are most likely to touch, like the steering wheel, which now integrates the horn, the door armrests, and the chunky gearshift lever. It's clearly a move upscale. Just look at this switchgear and the climate control dials with integrated displays. Since the changes to this car are mostly related to style and comfort, space is largely the same as in the previous Duster, which is a good thing. I have plenty of knee room and headroom in here and more places to store stuff. I'm talking about these door bins. However, the slightly smaller windows make the cabin feel less airy. You get the same impression in the front as well, because of the more massive dashboard, even though the windscreen has been moved forward by 10 centimeters. Besides looking more upscale inside and out, the new Duster also introduces features never before available on the budget SUV. For example, you can now have a keyless entry system borrowed from the Renault Megane, automatic headlights with LED DRLs, automatic climate control, and a digital display in the instrument panel. Safety-wise, the Duster offers a blind spot warning system and curtain airbags for the first time. Sadly though, those didn't help it achieve more than 3 stars in Euro NCAP testing, the same as its predecessor. As for fuel economy, this 1.5-liter turbodiesel engine remains as economical as you know it from other Dacia and Renault models. For example, we've covered more than 240 kilometers in this new Duster in all sorts of conditions, and the average fuel economy displayed here is 6.6 liters per 100 kilometers. Overall, I must say I'm really impressed with this new Duster. And that's because Dacia has managed to solve most of the original car's problems, and it has done it in style. I have to admit also that. It looks great from the outside. I have nothing to object about the styling, really. The interior is much improved as well, but given that this car is built on the same platform, I have to wonder how come they didn't do it like this from the get-go. The obvious answer to that rhetorical question would be the fact that Dacia has sold more than 1 million first-generation Dusters, so they didn't need to spend more on a product that was already selling like hotcakes. However, now the situation is different because the Duster has been getting old, so Dacia needed a refreshed Duster. Because that's what this car is. It's a facelifted Duster. It's not an all-new generation, but it's a comprehensive facelift that has touched every area, almost every area of this car. And I say almost because the engine lineup is the same. Nothing changes. And that bothers me a bit, because why doesn't Renault give Dacia its 1.6-liter dCi engine? I guess the answer is Renault doesn't want the Duster to be as good as it can be, because then it would obviously compete with its own products, with its own brand products. That may also be the reason why you can only have an automatic Duster with front-wheel drive and an all-wheel drive Duster with manual transmission. But taken as it is, this 2018 Duster is better than its predecessor in every department, and it's all that counts for customers. But I sure would love to see it develop to its full potential, if you know what I mean.